first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my estranged father that he and his wife can be grandparents to his other kids' future children? My parents divorced when I was 15 because my dad had been cheating on my mom with a coworker of hers. My younger brother was 13 and my sister was 12. I became estranged from him around that time. My siblings followed suit. My full siblings anyway. I have two half-siblings who are older than me and my other siblings. They were jerks to us because we were angry our dad hurt our mom, etc. And they made it clear if we didn't want our dad, they didn't want us. So ever since, I consider him my estranged father and not even my dad. I am now married and I have two little boys. I only see my father and his wife once every 3 years or so when there's a paternal family event of some kind. Last year, there was a milestone birthday for my grandpa, and throughout the day, people went to see him. When I was leaving, my father showed up and he saw that I had kids. After that, he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents, and how she was unable to have kids, so no buy grandkids and all that stuff. I replied once and told him that he could ask his other kids if she could be grandma to their future kids because they were not welcome in my life or the life of my kids. He responded several more times, but I just ignored him. He then decided to get my great aunt involved and say that my boys deserve to have more loving grandparents if their grandparents are willing, and that I made his wife cry when I wrote what I did, and I was insensitive. My reply was, she was insensitive to sleep with a married man with 3 children, but apparently that was no big deal. And it goes beyond that, to how she treated my mom at work while the affair was happening. She even got fired over it, because she was bullying another colleague of my mom's too. It's not the type of family I want around my kiddos. They'll be fine with a loving grandma from me and 2 loving grandpas from their dad. So tell me, am I the a-hole for what I said? Edited to add, 2 kids was meant to be 3. It was a typo, sorry. My father has 5 kids total. 3 with my mom, 2 with the woman before he married my mom. Now for the top comments. Your estranged father had a chance to stay in your life, and he blew it. He also could have tried to reconnect with you later, and didn't until he found out, years after the fact, that you had something he wanted. Your kids. Sucks to be him. Oh, and the woman who helped destroy your parents' marriage is sad now that she doesn't get to swoop in and play granny? Ha 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 ha, bug off. Not the a-hole. So much agree with this. He could have started with, I'm sorry, or I regret that we don't have a relationship. Nope. You owe me and my affair partner, /wife, /bully your children's time and attention. With a side order of your children better be enthusiastic at having these new strangers around. So you better facilitate a grandparent-grandchild dynamic. No way. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. After that, he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents, and how she was unable to have kids, so no buy grandkids and all that stuff. He only wants back in your life because his wife cannot have children of her own, and they want to scratch the grandparent itch. There is nothing in his request that shows any remorse for what he did, and what they put you through as a child. They're both selfish. You're absolutely right to keep your boys away from these toxic people, and I would block anyone who tries to convince you otherwise. Your estranged father and his wife made their bed when they embarked on their affair. Now they're going to have to lie in it. Yep, only wanted her when it was a benefit to him and his wife. Forget that noise. He's not worth Opie's time. Not the a-hole. You owe this man nothing, and his audacious demands to play family now don't require gentle response. You were right to put your foot down fast and hard. I doubt anything less would have gotten through his skull. He chose her. If he doesn't get grandkids through her, oh well, it's not your problem. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my stepson with his son's surgery after he told me I'll never be his grandfather? I got married to my wife when her son was 14 and his mom was single 4 years before meeting me. My stepson was respectful, but he made it clear that he already had a dad. I'm not his father and that I shouldn't try to act like it. I respected his wish. Had no problem with him treating me in a formal and respectful manner. I still handle his education, /daily needs, /medical bills, even if no one told me to. He was just a kid living under my roof, so I felt responsible for his well-being until he could be responsible for himself. I do need to say that I lost a son while serving the military. He was young and had his whole life ahead of him. We had a lot in common. He loved soccer, cars, country music. Loved Eric Church, Alan Jackson, and Crystal Gayle. I listened to those singers every day to get some comfort. Some people say I'm lucky my son's a hero and things like that. Some say that I must be devastated. Let me tell you, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't feel the way I felt when I received that devastating news the first time. It's all I can say. My stepson had a baby boy with his wife last year. He made it clear that this baby is not my grandson and I'm not his grandfather. I was only able to visit when my wife visited. No photos allowed, no mentioning of the baby. No gifts from me specifically. Nothing. I wasn't allowed to attend his first birthday, and the gift I sent was returned. I'm not going to lie. It hurt. It still hurts, but I absolutely respected his words. I knew there were lines that I cannot cross, and so I kept to myself. It's not easy, and although my son is not here, I enjoy looking at pictures and videos of when he was younger. Thinking I was lucky I had him in my life, especially after how my stepson treated me. I don't hate him for it. I'm just grateful for the times I had with my son. A few days ago, my stepson's baby was in the hospital. My wife visits alone. She came home and said that my stepson needs help for his son's surgery and wanted me to pay for it. I said I'm sorry, but no. She looked confused and asked if I was serious, and then called me selfish and said that I'm ignoring my grandson and acting like I don't care. I told her that is not my grandbaby, and she and my stepson have been acting like it for an entire year. Now they want me to pay? She guilted me by saying I was being cruel to not help family. She and my stepson kept arguing with me and got others involved to shame me for not helping. My stepson argued that I'm trying to hold my money over his head and had no right to do that. They didn't stop arguing with me, telling me I needed to pay. His aunt called me too, saying I needed to help my grandchild because I have the money. But I'm not obligated to, yet they call me cruel and selfish. Now for the top comments. Not a hole. Your stepson has made it clear from the start that you are not his dad, and you're not his son's grandfather. Expecting anything from you, especially money, isn't called for. If he wanted you to have any kind of relationship with his son, then you would be allowed to see him without your wife being there. Have photos with the baby. Be able to talk about the baby. But nope. None of that. So, I wouldn't want to help with this random child's surgery, as bad as it sounds. Yes, and I'm not doing this out of spite as it claims. He knows how it is. His mother knows they both had no problem treating me like that, and I don't talk about it because I didn't want to look pathetic. But everyone just wants to please my stepson and his wife now. I bet they're promising him that they'll pressure me enough to pay. Unfortunately, I don't think things will change. It's been like this for years. My wife says she respects her son's wishes and isn't trying to force him to do anything, but I didn't ask anything from anyone. Sir, I mean no disrespect at all, but why are you with this woman at all? Not only allowed this treatment as a piggy bank towards you, but encouraged it, and now demands it. You deserve better. Please don't stay in this family. They don't respect you. They don't care about you, just your wallet, and they certainly don't love you. Not the a-hole. Your stepson wants you to finance a child's surgery that he won't even let you be around. He's using you. I'd tell him to have the real grandfather shell out the money. Yes, this. It was made clear someone else is the child's grandfather. To the point, they sent his gift back after forbidding him from attending the child's birthday party. So the birthday gift wasn't acceptable, but Alope's money is? They can sashay that BS back and over to his real grandfather and get the money from him. Not the a-hole. So basically, they want you to be dad/grandfather only when it's convenient for them. No. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband's girlfriend to stay in her lane when it comes to my kids? 5 years ago, while I was in the waiting part of labor, you know, where the epidural kicks in but you're hours away from the main event, my then-husband told me that he needed to get some food because he was starving and is hungry. In his hurry, he left his phone behind him, which every few seconds kept getting notifications. Me thinking it was his or my family checking up, I asked the midwife pass me the phone. He literally was updating his mistress on my labor. And how can I put this sweet talking her about how even though he was with me, she still had his full attention? Let's just say when he came back, it was showtime after me screaming the place down, and my midwife, amazing woman, kicked him out and my sister ended up coming in. Because there's a word count, I'll cut it short. I moved in with my parents with my 5 kids. We got divorced and they got together. I'm civil to my ex for my kids' sake, but I barely speak to her. She's my cousin, by the way. My kids, 15 female, 13 male, 13 male, 8 male, and 5 female, have recently become obsessed with Harry Potter. Since my 15-year-old made a TikTok and lots of people pointed out that my 4 oldest look like the Weasleys, my twins have the same personalities as Fred and George. So this brings me onto the situation. My youngest since then has been dressing up as a different character every week, like Harry, Draco, Snape, the dude from Twilight. You can see the pattern of it just being male characters. Personally, I don't care. If my kids are happy, I'm happy. Which brings me onto the situation today. While I was dropping them off, my ex's girlfriend asked to speak to me about my kids, especially my youngest. She basically told me it was weird that they weren't right in the head, so we're gonna do something about the situation at hand. I told her she slept with her cousin's husband, so her ideas on what people should do aren't something I want my kids are picking up, and that my kids are fine. She isn't their mom, nor will they ever see her as such, and that they hate her guts. Her doing, but that's another story. And finally, she should stay in her lane when it comes to my kids. Kids weren't there when it happened, and I left. A few hours later, ex calls me screaming, saying I was an a-hole, and that his girlfriend has been crying all day about the mother thing, because she can't have kids, and that I need to apologize. So that's why I'm here. Not a-hole. She was way out of line for trying to tell you how to parent your kids. They can do what they want when they're at their dad's house. She should just talk to her boyfriend? So weird. No need to bring you into this. My oldest has recently started going to her dad's again, because his girlfriend started drama about my daughter being on TikTok. She literally talked him into demanding she delete the app, so maybe they wanted me to be the bad guy. What's your guys' legal custody arrangement? We both agreed on 50-50, but because of the bad relationship my kids have with the ex's girlfriend, and over the current situation with, you know what, it's more 80-20. You are definitely not an a-hole. They're not her kids. Wearing weird stuff is normal for young kids. Also, I feel for her that she can't have kids, but that doesn't give her the right to meddle with your kids, and she lost my sympathy the second she started an affair with your ex-husband. She sounds horrible. Wearing weird stuff is normal for young kids. You know what I do when my kid wears weird stuff? I take pictures and send them to family. They love it, especially when it's a mashup of 2 to 4 costumes that has some repurposed home item or a homemade craft. It's not just what kids do, it's super adorable. This lady is nuts. Edit. My oldest rang me to collect them. Apparently, my ex had hidden all their costumes. He has a garden like the Malfoy one, so they wanted to do TikToks. And his girlfriend held a family meeting about the Harry Potter obsession, and basically belittled my kids, especially my 5-year-old. The second youngest videoed her, which is now on Facebook. I had my sister come with me, and I told my ex I'll be going for full custody. I took my kids out to the car at that stage, but my sister just let loose. The last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my dad's girlfriend's kids? Some background information. My 16 female parents got divorced 2 years ago, and about 6 months after, my dad started dating his girlfriend, Molly. My mom is a science and math tutor, and I work at the same place as a math and reading tutor. Molly is an elementary school teacher with 2 kids, Ben, 10 male, and Alex, 7 male. My parents have split custody, so I spend 1 week at my mom's and 1 week at my dad's. With the way I'm doing school right now, I have biology the week I am at my dad's and my other class the week I am at my mom's. Because Molly's a teacher, she really enjoys helping out with homework and tries to help me, even though she doesn't understand biology as well, because she teaches younger kids. I had a big project due this week, and I was struggling, so I called my mom for help yesterday. Molly did not like this, and demanded I hang up on the phone and ask her for help. She didn't understand the work, and left, so I ended up just texting my mom to figure it out. Because everyone is at home right now, I am babysitting Ben and Alex while we're all on school calls. So if Ben or Alex have a question during the day, they come to me because Molly's teaching and I tutor their grade. Molly doesn't like this and always tells them to wait until she's done teaching to ask her questions. But this isn't really a good option because she's teaching for 6+ hours a day and they can't wait that long. She still does any homework with them and gives them some activities she's done in her class for fun after she's done work. She came out of her office for lunch today and saw me helping Ben with some work and got mad and told me to not answer any questions they have. I didn't listen and continued to help them when they asked me. Now here is where I might be the a-hole. After dinner tonight, my dad said that Molly told him about what happened and I can't help Ben and Alex anymore because they're Molly's kids and what she says goes. I told him that if I'm not allowed to help them, I'm not going to watch them on their Zoom classes because they will just distract me with questions I'm not allowed to answer. My dad basically set him a nail for this, and it's not my job to parent Molly's kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They set the rules. They can't get mad when you decide to comply with them in ways they didn't expect. Exactly. Opie gets told she can't do anything for the kids, so she decides not to do anything for the kids. Opie, you're setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Your dad's girlfriend decided to have 2 kids, and your dad accepted that when he started dating her and moved in together. It's on them to find a solution to their current problem, not you. If you want to watch the kids, and dad and girlfriend are fine with you handling homework when you are watching them, that's absolutely perfect. But they don't get to set arbitrary rules. Tell them it's either you watch them and help them as you are doing, or you don't watch them. This isn't a pick and mix shop. Not the a-hole. Molly seems to have a bad case of needing to be the smartest, most helpful person in the room, to the point of not being able to recognize or admit when that attitude's not actually helpful. And your dad's enabling her. If they won't ease off, see if you can talk them into considering family counseling. Or worst case, talk to your mom about readjusting the visiting arrangement. Molly sounds like Peggy Hill. Maybe we just call this Peggy Hill syndrome from now on. Not the a-hole. Even your dad said so. It's not your job to parent the kids. So what's the issue here? That last sentence made it seem like your dad is agreeing with you. Sorry if it wasn't clear. Basically, my dad wants me to watch them, but just ignore their questions. I said I will either watch them and help, or not watch them at all. He basically said that me helping them with the questions was parenting them, and that I need to stop. Am I the a-hole for firmly telling my husband I won't cook for his friend again? For context, my husband's male 33 best friend, male 37 Dale, lost his wife to cancer this past March. Ever since, I've been asked by my husband to consider sending hot homemade meals to his suffering friend, and I've started including Dale in the meals I cook. It started off as 1 meal a week, then gradually became 3 to 5 meals a week. Then my husband started coming with requests from his friend Dale wanting me to cook certain meals that he preferred. I wasn't so fine with it, as I already had not a lot of time to spend in the kitchen. I'm a nurse, and work has become very exhausting. As well as money we spent to buy ingredients we need to cook meals for Dale. Dale would send me texts or emails thanking me for the meals I sent him, but at the same time kept sending suggestions and new ways to improve my cooking. Like how his wife made X meal crispier or how X meal should have more sauce. I gotta say, I started feeling irritated, especially since Dale kept texting all the time. And even when I don't respond, he texts my husband who asks me to please be more patient since this is a phase and will pass. A few days ago, I was in the middle of my shift at 11 a.m. when Dale sent me a text, but I was too busy in my unit I didn't even look at it. I work in a big hospital, so the pressure is big. I got off work at 9 p.m. to find my husband at home looking upset. I asked him, and he told me his friend Dale texted me early in the morning to tell me he was having guests over and wanted me to cook him a meal so he could serve it to them. But I didn't respond and kept him hanging, forcing him to order food at the last minute. I was taken aback. I didn't know why he'd come to me expecting that I cook for his guests, knowing that I had work. My husband said his friend was just asking, but I ignored him and made him feel like a burden. I told him A, I was busy working, and B, I'm not obligated to cook for Dale, much less his guests that I never met. My husband said that Dale would have said okay if I said no, but he thinks that I work too much if I can't take a minute to look at a text he sent. Dale said that. It's funny because my job's paying for the food Dale's been eating since March. My husband said I put Dale in an awkward position. and should apologize and clear the air. But I told him that I'm no longer cooking for his friend. Not even weekly meals, period. Since this is the type of treatment I get and being treated like a maid or a personal cook, then I'm not cooking for Dale again. Ever. I said this, then I went upstairs. My husband said I overreacted and was being insensitive toward his widower friend, and should have had more grace because his friend is struggling himself in this hard time. My husband said he didn't know I had this cruel side of me, and asked me to put myself in Dale's shoes to understand that he's struggling. Additional info. A. Dale doesn't work, and my husband says it's rude to ask Dale to pay for food we send him when I complain about the stuff I'm having to pay for to cook. B. My husband says Dale already has other friends helping out, but not with cooking, as they are single and none of them know how to cook just like my husband. C. Dale thinks I work too much. How does that even concern him? I have no idea. Dale and I never really get along, but I keep it civil since he's my husband's best friend and is struggling to adapt as a widower, so I try to be graceful and understanding. My husband goes over to his house daily to help with whatever he can, so it's not just me helping, but because my husband doesn't cook. He thinks Dale deserves to have a hot meal or 2 weeklies. Cooking is not a problem for me if it doesn't interrupt work. I cooked for my brother many times when our mother passed away. But it's how Dale kept texting all the time. My husband works from home and takes care of household chores except cooking. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. Texting you at work to cook for his friend's friends? That's nuts. If someone needs to cook for his friend, your husband can always do the cooking, especially if you are working. You don't have any magic skills in the kitchen that he can't develop if he thinks it is important that someone from your family cook for his friend. I'd also draw a line at having his friend over for more than 1 meal a week. Any more than that, and your husband needs to prepare the meal, because it is, as you say, a lot of work. It is also really intrusive to have a guest over that many times a week. What about your privacy? If your husband thinks this cooking is no big deal, he can do it. If it is too big of a deal for him, it is too big of a deal for you. On the day of 2, Opie didn't put Dale in an awkward position. He put himself in an awkward position. Absolutely ludicrous on the part of both Dale and the husband. OMG, yeah. I'm a planner, and this day of expectation would drive me absolutely nuts. Like, dude, at least have the grace to ask 24 plus hours in advance. Not Dale, Opie. Dale doesn't work and deserves a hot meal once or twice a week? Okay, so he can order hot takeout. Or get a job. Or spend his plentiful downtime teaching himself how to cook, which would be beneficial and a good distraction strategy for coping with grief. Why doesn't he work in the first place? Why hasn't your husband learned to cook if he feels so strongly about this? Not a day-hole, but your problem is not Dale, but your husband. Theoretically, it's nice that he wants to be there for his friend in a hard time, but it seems he's very inconsiderate towards you and your time. If Opie's husband wanted to support Dale after his loss, then maybe Opie's husband should have done the freaking cooking instead of forcing it on Opie. Apparently, both Opie's husband and Dale's other friends don't know how to cook, because we all know that recipes are all written in some language indecipherable to men. For Pete's sake, as a grown adult, cooking is a basic life skill. If you don't know how to, learn. Don't just force your wife to cook for you and all your friends in the few hours she has off work. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for inviting my 29 male girlfriend 28 female on an expensive vacation and expecting her to pay all of her share? I make a lot more than her. Hello. My girlfriend, myself, my parents, and my brother and his wife all went on vacation in another country a week ago. My brother and I were the ones who did most of the planning of the itinerary, although we did ask everyone else for input. For background, I make around $150,000 as an IT consultant. My girlfriend is a teacher making $45,000. My parents are pretty affluent, as well as my brother and sister-in-law. My girlfriend knew this trip was coming up and took on a second job waitressing on the weekends for several months to get ready for it. We have always split things 50-50 in the 2 years we have been together. There were a few times on vacation when she did not go on outings with us, wine tasting / scuba diving / etc. She also would only eat 2 meals a day, simply stating that she was on a budget. My family does favor more high-end, expensive places. My parents thought it was very strange that she only eats 2 meals a day, although normally she eats 3. When we got home, I asked her why she skipped out on several of the outings and only ate 2 meals a day. I mentioned how I heard her stomach growling one night and said I was concerned about her having an eating disorder. She got teary-eyed and said that 3 meals a day wasn't physically feasible for her, and neither were the outings that she chose not to go on. She went on 3 out of 6 outings. She said she was not expecting everything to cost so much, and she was overwhelmed. She also said she doesn't know if this is going to work long-term if she is expected to go on vacations like that with people who make so much more than her. I feel bad that I did not pick up on her discomfort sooner. But we did agree to split everything 50-50, and I don't know why she agreed to come if the cost was an issue. You're the a-hole. Dude, come on. Your girlfriend had to take a second job to keep up with your family. You heard her stomach growl. You didn't think she may not have the cash? God, you're not the brightest, are you? You make over 100,000 more than her. Don't even treat her to a holiday? Yeah, it's not going to work. You're blind to your girlfriend struggling. Help her. Opie makes me pretty angry. He gets to save and have enough money to spend on whatever, whenever he wants, while his girlfriend is struggling just to be able to afford her share of things. Yes, going 50-50 might have worked out in the beginning of their relationship, but when the income disparity is that big, you need to adjust the agreement. Why should she be the one to live up to his desires when he so clearly doesn't care about hers? You're the a-hole, Opie. Just reading your post again, I don't think you actually care about your girlfriend at all. You're the a-hole 100%. She wants because she loves your stupid butt. She worked a second job and went hungry to be with you and your family. Maybe you and your family should have some empathy and consider that not everyone is making 6 figures. Teachers are drastically underpaid for their education and often have to take a second job. Public servants who teach children are devalued, and in this case, her own boyfriend and his family couldn't care less that she was making huge sacrifices to attend. Your job is to be a good partner. You failed. Sorry, you're the a-hole. I feel for her. You'd been together 2 years. It sounds like to her this was an opportunity to get to know your family. She sacrificed a lot just to afford to come. You then watch her go hungry on a trip with your family? I mean, you don't need to pay for all her costs. But could you not have helped a bit to make sure she at least eats regularly, given that she worked 2 jobs earning a lot less than you for this? Next story is titled, Would I be the a-hole if I refused to help pay for my brother's wedding? Here's some backstory. My 20-male brother, 35, has a long history of nearly getting married then pulling out the last minute. It's the same story each time. He'll introduce a girl to the family when they start getting serious, and tell us that they'll be getting married in a few months. My parents will go to meet her parents, and the wedding preparations usually commence at this point. When the wedding is like a month or 2 away, he'll pull out of the whole thing over a fight or something. This has happened at least 8 times over the years. The reason he keeps pulling out is apparently over him not having enough money saved for the whole thing. Now this is confusing because he's been in full-time work since he was 18, has his own place, and pretty nice Mercedes car. The issue at hand is that he's brought another girl to the family. It is apparently serious this time. The wedding is a month away, and things are getting hectic. My mom is going around hounding all my siblings to chip in and pay off the wedding costs, seeing as my brother has no savings and is relying on us to bail him out. I was added to a family group chat dedicated to helping him pay off the money. Each one of my siblings was told to pay £1,000 by next month. I have been receiving non-stop phone calls from family asking when I will pay my share of the money, and this has taken a toll on my mental health. I currently work full-time and earn around £400 weekly, and I pay around £550 a month to my parents for rent and groceries. This is the second job I've ever had, and I've just recently started to learn how to save money and spend wisely. Paying £1,000 would put a serious dent in my basically non-existent savings. My family's also very toxic and mentally abusive, and there has been many times I have really needed help. Not money, just someone to talk to or ask for advice, and only my big sister was there for me. My mom has even gone the extremes of telling my siblings they were forbidden from sending me any money when I was broke and stuck in a different country. I might be the a-hole because I'm from a culture where family helps each other no matter what, and everyone expects me to pay the money. He's also my brother at the end of the day. So would I be the a-hole if I refuse to help out my brother? Edit. I just want to clarify my brother isn't the one asking people to pay for him. He actually hasn't talked to me about the wedding at all, and we're on pretty good terms right now. My mom is the one doing most of the fundraising and stuff. Now for the comments. This. There has been many times I have really needed help. Not money, just someone to talk to or ask for advice. And only my big sister was there for me. My mom has even gone the extremes of telling my siblings they were forbidden from sending me any money when I was broke and stuck in a different country. And this. Am I to be the a-hole because I'm from a culture where family helps each other no matter what? Does not go together. Not the a-hole. It's like the rules don't apply to me, but I'm expected to follow them. There are a lot of things about your family's behavior that makes me think it's probably not in your best interest to be relying on them or being in situations where they can pressure you into doing what they want. Your brother is an idiot, but I feel bad for him. If your parents are pressuring him into meeting someone and starting a family the same way they're pressuring you to pay for his wedding, it's no wonder he keeps canceling the wedding last minute. It's not about money, it's about him not wanting to get married. That's so true. Living in their household gives them the opportunity to try to manipulate me into things. I'm trying to move out very soon though. Not day hall. Your brother is 35 years old, in the middle of his working life, and you've just started. He doesn't need help to pay for his wedding. The fact that he's previously pulled out of weddings at the last minute is just an additional reason not to trust that he won't pull out this time. If it's different girls, the wedding costs are not the reason it's previously cancelled. But they may be the reason he now can't afford a wedding. When you plan a big wedding then cancel, you don't get all the money back. That's the thing. I really can't afford to give out money right now, and my job isn't really a steady one, so I have to save for a rainy day. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for getting upset that my girlfriend's sister keeps inviting herself into our home? Hi guys. I've been struggling with this issue recently and looking to see if I'm being an a-hole about it. I have been in a relationship with my amazing girlfriend for over 5 years. We have only recently moved into our first home together and have both been loving the experience and freedom. The issue I have been having recently is that since we have moved into our new home, it feels like my girlfriend's sister is constantly inviting herself over. For a bit of reference, myself and my girlfriend are in our mid-20s and her sister is mid-30s. So all adults here. There was a point earlier this year where her sister would come around roughly 3 times a week for a few hours at a time, whilst we were both working from home. She would also bring her 6-year-old son at times, which has been difficult if her son has a tantrum. Kids will be kids, but preferably not when working. My girlfriend is aware that it does get on my nerves how often it happens. We have never argued about it, however, she has seen my mood drop when it happens. I've told her it can feel like being suffocated at times. However, she is close to her sister, and I'm afraid to touch the subject at times. Her sister invited herself over to stay the night with her son just last week. I didn't know about this, and it turned out my girlfriend has been pretending to be ill, so that she wouldn't come over. I feel terrible, almost as if I'm turning her against her sister by accident. Anyway, she's invited herself for dinner this week, so that will be fun. Am I the a-hole? I just like my own personal space and feel it's being invaded slightly. Not the a-hole. Talk with your girlfriend about this and bring up that you want to set boundaries regarding people inviting themselves over and visiting. I wouldn't say you're corrupting your girlfriend because it seems that she's uncomfortable about all this as well. It's a pretty extreme reaction to just fake being sick to prevent someone from coming over, so I think she isn't as okay with it herself. Also, maybe this is just me, but I've probably never had a friend or family member come to our house unannounced. Even in situations where they're just in the neighborhood, they phone us ahead of time. Seems like a common courtesy in my opinion, especially since you mentioned in your post that she comes when you're working and brings her kid. I think it all depends how close you are with a sibling. My brother and I would 100% come into each other's house unannounced if we were in the neighborhood, but I'd never think of doing that with either of my sisters. Great relationship, just not best friend vibes. I don't think OP is the a-hole, but I would recommend OP and girlfriend sit down and talk about a compromise with the girlfriend's sister because some ground rules seem like they need to be put in place. And to my knowledge, OP doesn't even have a clue where his girlfriend head is at. Not the a-hole, but I'm afraid your girlfriend needs to grow some spine and tell her sister honestly what she thinks. And the sister herself is pretty a-hole for just invading your space with a son like this. Not the a-hole. 3 times a week is a lot. 3 times a week when the people are working from home and bringing a child is too much. You should have a conversation with your girlfriend's sister since she won't. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I am successful despite her? not thanks to her parenting? For context, I, 31 male, have a brother, Paul, 33 male, who is a screw-up. He's a felon, breaking into people's homes to steal valuables. And in general, Paul has no work ethic, no drive to improve, no moral compass. He's rude, cruel, and uneducated. I, on the other hand, have a PhD from my country's top university. And I started my own company, which is now employing 5 people full-time plus myself and my significant other. Our lives, our mother, Mary, 63 years old, favored Paul strongly. The greasy wheels get the grease principle. I could bring home perfect grades, and Paul all failing grades besides one barely passing grade. And Mom would fall over herself congratulating Paul and buying him a new iPod, while my grades barely get me a nod of acknowledgement. I worked jobs after school ended summer, only for my salaries to be stolen by Paul to buy weed, and Mom always gave him a pass. Our mother is a very warm woman, and I can tell that she wanted to celebrate even the tiniest achievement of Paul's to encourage him, and she didn't have the heart to punish/discipline either me or my brother. But in the end, it screwed over both Paul and me. Paul was taught that Mom will always bail him out, and that stealing is consequence-free, until the actual police was involved and not just our mom. I have been slowly unraveling with my therapist all the ways in which being essentially wallpaper my whole childhood led me to having attachment issues, intense anxiety, abysmally low self-worth, and an unhealthy habit to both bury myself in work and always feel like a failure no matter how much I accomplish. Then Mom called me today to invite me to a big party to celebrate Paul getting a job. It's unskilled, in retail. By now, I fully expect Paul to be fired, or just decide to stop showing up less than 1 week in. I told Mom no, because we live in different cities and it's not worth celebrating that mediocrity. It led to a heated conversation, and eventually her telling me that I need to give back because I'm prosperous. I shot back that I work to earn all I have, and with a mother like her, it was an uphill battle. She told me she always supported me, and I told her what I typed above, and hung up angry. She texted me I'm sorry you feel that way and that I'm still welcome to Paul's party. I've been pacing and restless. Was I an a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. It sounds like you reached your limit, and you're trying to set better boundaries for your own mental well-being. Definitely discuss with your therapist how you're feeling about what you said. Maybe they can give you a suggestion of how to address your mother in the future. I will. Therapy's Friday and it's gonna bother me until then, but I will absolutely address it with my therapist. If you haven't already, I suggest emailing your therapist what happened ahead of time, so they know what you want to address at a session, and or writing out what happened. It can help you relieve feelings and make sure you remember what you wanted to bring up. Hope the session goes well and helps you. Not stay home. I'm sorry you feel that way is a BS answer. You feel that way because of her neglect. And you're right. Celebrating him getting a retail job that you believe he'll lose in a short time is meaningless. If anything, further contact with either your mother or Paul will encourage them to start asking for things. She's going to expect you to allow your brother to bleed you dry just like she did. I think you're better off cutting both these people entirely loose. Not stay home. Your standards are higher and it would benefit you to stay away and visit Mom and the family on a different day when they aren't celebrating Paul. It'll put you in a bad mood while that's going on. I've been quietly trying to avoid seeing Mom when Paul is around, but it's hard because he still lives under her roof, and the distance means that each travel to see Mom is a tall affair lasting days. I rarely see her these days, and the pandemic just worsened what was already happening. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my 24 male twin sister 24 female that she no longer has a brother? So I had a fiance 24 female and I just knew she was the woman I'd spend my life with. She was great in every way. Her and my sister clicked greatly and they became best friends, which was huge for me because my sister and I were best friends as well. So I'd go on double dates with her and her now husband. I found out my fiance was cheating on me and blew up on her. She cried and said the usual stuff, but I was destroyed and called off our engagement and broke up with her. She ended up getting in a relationship with her affair partner, which stands to this day. Afterwards, before I blocked my ex and everything as I simply forgot, I saw her post on Facebook a picture of her new boyfriend happily hanging out with my sister and her then fiancé. I got angry at my sister and told her I thought it was wrong for her to do that. I know that she's a grown woman, but I thought that she would be mad at her too, especially since we are so close. I mean, we are twins. She tried to explain to me that she loves me more than anyone, but that she cherishes her friendship with my ex and didn't want to let either of us go. I ignored her after that and she called me. We went back and forth, her trying to plead with me and me angrily refusing to see her point of view. I then told her, have fun with your new friendship. Don't contact me again. I'm done with you. And then blocked her and my ex and everything. Since then, I moved from our old apartment and have gotten a new one and changed my number. My father and a few trusted friends have this info and have been instructed not to give it to my sister. My father had been telling me that my sister had been distraught and wanting to talk to me, but I was pretty adamant that I didn't want to. He obliged. Then she called me on a new number and told me she was getting married and that she would love for me to be there. I was ecstatic at first, but then I remembered my ex had asked if she and her new boyfriend would be there, to which she replied that she was going to be a bridesmaid and that the boyfriend would be there. I then told her that as of now, we are both only children. A little harsh, but I was angry. I hung up the phone and blocked the number. They are married now, but my dad tells me that she's visibly distressed and that he's afraid it will take a toll on her marriage. I don't want this to happen, but I am in no way over any of this. I still feel betrayed twice. I don't really want to see her at all. My biggest thing is that when she was cheated on by her college boyfriend, who I became friends with, I scolded him and comforted her. But when I get heartbroken by my fiancé and soon-to-be wife, she feels like it's okay to mingle with her and the guy who helped break us up. It's as if I don't matter. Although I love her to death, I feel a lot of hatred towards her right now. So, am I the a-hole for telling her that we are only children from now on and completely shutting her out of my life? Look, while it's true that you do not control her and who she's friends with, you control yourself and your actions. You asked her to give up her friendship with someone who betrayed you. She refused. You decided that you didn't want her in your life anymore. The condition you've laid for her to be in your life is that she give up your ex. She doesn't want to. Clearly, she values that relationship than her relationship with you. Either that or she's expecting you to come around to her way of thinking. As long as you stick to your guns and don't go around harassing your sister or ex, I think you're not the a-hole. She's allowed to make her choices, but then so are you. I feel like that's what it comes down to. Sister had to make a choice and doesn't want to live with the consequences. Also, don't be swayed by your father's report about your sister being visibly distressed and is worried that it will have repercussions for her marriage. Anything that happens will be a direct result of her own decisions to value her friendship with your ex-fiancé over you. You certainly do not owe anything to her, much less your forgiveness in order to save her marriage or your relationship to each other. She made her own bed, and she can lie in it. Sister didn't want to let either of us go. And when she had to pick, she didn't pick you. But she wants to make amends? How would that work? She just wants to have her cake and eat it too. Not stay home. Also, your dad said that she's visibly distressed and that he's afraid it will take a toll on her marriage. How so? Unless she cheats on her significant other like her BFF did to you. If I had to guess, the husband was an OP side about all this and the sister ignored him to get her way. Not an a-hole. The amount of people who truly think OP is an a-hole is astonishing. Dude's life gets nuked, and you all are like, get over it. She can gloss over his heartbreak, but when he does it, he's in the wrong? So much for empathy. So many fakers out here. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go on a vacation with my family due to my bratty nieces also being invited? The people invited on a vacation. My parents, 48 female/52 male. My pregnant sister, 25 female, her husband, 29 male, and their daughter, 6 female/4 female. Myself, 23 male. My sister, 21 female. My parents planned a family vacation for us from December 26 to January 1. They rented a cottage upstate with enough room for all of us. I don't want to go if my nieces will be there. I know I sound like a horrible uncle, but there's a reason for it. My sister/brother-in-law are earth parent types. My nieces were born at home with only sister, brother-in-law, and a midwife who doesn't have any medical background or credentials present. They literally let my nieces do whatever they want. For meals, my nieces are allowed to choose what they eat. So if they want ice cream or cookies, that's what they get. My sister/brother-in-law won't make them eat anything they don't want to. They aren't sending my nieces to school. I thought they meant homeschooling, but they are letting my nieces decide if and when they want to learn something. My sister calls it unschool. Neither can count past 10. They don't always get the letters of the alphabet right and neither can write their own name. They are more interested in the tablet or watching stuff online. I don't even know how this is legal, but I looked it up and it's here. My nieces choose their own bedtime, so they can stay up all night. They sleep with my sister/brother-in-law and can't sleep without their parents there, so all their sleep schedules are messed up. They can't stand to be away from sister to the point they follow her to the bathroom. My sister can't even go to the store without them or there's a tantrum. They are glued to her. My brother-in-law can get away with a few hours. One time we went skating, and it was just cold enough to be slightly uncomfortable. My niece didn't want to wear a coat, and my sister/brother-in-law didn't make her. They said she would experience the natural consequences of her actions, but she was 3 at the time. They've never been to a doctor. One of them purposely broke a neighbor's window, and my sister/brother-in-law don't do forced apologies, so niece didn't have to apologize to the neighbor. One of my nieces threw a tantrum because I wouldn't give her my coffee. My sister/brother-in-law made more and gave it to her and said they can have whatever they want. I should have given her mine. It's hard enough for a few hours. I can't take a week in an isolated cottage with a single satellite TV, no internet, no cell phone reception. The cottage has a landline phone, and cold weather with only one vehicle for all of us. If my nieces weren't going, I would love something like this though. My work always closes between Christmas and New Year's, so I can't say I'm working. At Thanksgiving, I told my parents I have no plans before they ask. I declined without saying why, and upset was an understatement at my parents' reaction. They are pressuring me to go because everyone else said yes. Does it make me the a-hole for declining? They're not happy. Now for the comments. Not only should you not go, you should tell them exactly why. Leaving that part out is the mistake. Tell them, stay home, have a nice vacation, the end. Not stay home. Let them experience the natural consequences of their actions. Yeah, they're setting their kids up for failure. Shaking my head. Not stay home. Dude, imagine not sending your kids to school, and then also not teaching them skills and raising them to be addicted to their phones at a young age. I feel so bad for these kids. Info, why were your parents so upset? Do they think that the girl's behavior is okay, or do they simply want every one of you to be miserable together? My parents don't seem to be bothered by my nieces at all. They're upset because they wanted this to be family time together. If my nieces weren't there, I would love something like this. I think they're hurt because I'm the only one who declined and my work is closed. And they know I don't have prior plans, so there's no reason in their minds. Not stay home. That sounds like a terrible situation to be stuck in. That also sounds like child mistreatment. Those kids deserve medical care and proper schooling, and they are being set up for failure when they enter adult society. I literally can't believe the people who do this to their children. In my opinion, it is extremely abusive. Denying children any stability at all is a truly terrible thing to do. These are not going to be healthy or capable adults in any way, even before the fact that they literally have no education or social skills. I seriously hope state governments step in and make this illegal and start cracking down and checking records. I'm not opposed to properly done homeschool, but it seems like most people now aren't doing it correctly at all. They just stick their kids in front of a screen for 2 hours a day and leave it at that. I don't understand how you can do that to a human. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not carrying on a tradition my family started with my step-family? My mom died 8 years ago. She had me, 17 female, my sisters 14 female, 12 female, and my brothers 13 male, 11 male, with my dad. Dad is remarried. His wife has 2 kids of her own, 10 female and 9 female, and together they have 2, 3 male and 1 female. When I was born, Mom bought me a necklace. Not a super fancy one, but something that could be customized and added to, and she added each of my siblings. And when they were born, they got them too, with all our names on them. We all have them. We all wear them. It's something special for us. A few months ago, my sisters noticed my baby brother's necklace and asked him about it. He explained it was a necklace our mom gave each of us and was a tradition we had as siblings. This brought up questions about why they and our half-siblings were never included. My dad asked me about it when he remarried, and I told him it was something I wanted to continue with the steps. He left it there. His wife did bring it up several more times, and ultimately was unhappy that I didn't want to keep it alive. Because I was always my mom's helper with them for my siblings, it was seen as changing the tradition if I didn't want to be part of it. My dad and his wife ended up getting a different thing to symbolize the blended family. But the question ultimately came back to the tradition started by my mom. My dad asked me the other day why I didn't want to continue the tradition with a step family. I told him it didn't feel right to me to continue my mom's tradition with people who are not my mom's family. He asked if that was the only reason. I admitted to him that I love my siblings more, and if I'm honest, I'm not sure love comes into the relationship I have with the steps or halves. That I don't feel very strong emotions for my step or half siblings, and I see even our future adult relationships differently. He told me he was glad I was honest. Yesterday, his wife cornered me and told me her girls are still upset we didn't keep the tradition, that they feel unaccepted, and like they're not true siblings and we're not a true family because I didn't want to do it for them. She then said my influence has my siblings feeling the five of us are more bonded to each other than with the steps and halves. She said not wanting to continue it shows that I'm okay with hurting people, and that it makes me a very cruel person. Am I the a-hole? You are not the a-hole. The necklace was a tradition with your mom, and your stepmom is never going to replace or take over the place in your heart where your love for your mom is. She has no right to try and manipulate you like this. Keep talking to your dad about how you were feeling as you navigate the situation. And I would tell stepmom that as an adult, her trying to bully 5 children who lost their mother and just want to keep her memory alive makes her a very cruel person. And a selfish a-hole. Not the a-hole. The tradition your mother started was for her children. Your stepmother's children are in no way related to your mother. Ignore her. Your decision honors your mother and is not cruel. Not the a-hole. Tell her that she's being hurtful and cruel to you. Do not let her guilt you. She's supposed to be the adult in the family, not the pouty kid who wants everything. Do speak with your dad and let him know what your stepmom is doing and how uncomfortable you feel about her. Am I the a-hole for calling my aunt a creep and outing her as a homewrecker? To preface, I, 27 female, have an aunt that is 55 female. Let's call her Susie. I've never been very close to her, as she constantly torments me and picks on my looks. And when I was 20, she bullied me into an eating disorder. Despite all these things, I stayed cordial to keep the peace in my family. However, last week was my breaking point. For backstory, Susie has 2 daughters, 18 and 14, who are still teenagers. It is known amongst the whole family that since Susie's divorce in 2016, she neglects them badly. She doesn't cook, doesn't keep groceries in the home for them, and my cousins have even confided to me that she refuses to buy them new clothing. Despite my differences with Susie, I drop off home-cooked meals to her daughters, will give them hand-me-down clothes, and offer to help them out with schoolwork. Most of the times during my drop-offs, Susie would be on her way out but would always remember to make a jab at me, whether it be what I was wearing or even how my makeup was done. I usually brushed it off, as aggravating as she is. One day in particular, her eldest daughter confided in me that she wanted to move out because she couldn't deal with Susie anymore. She would yell constantly, and make her daughters clean all day, and scream if it weren't up to her standards. In addition, Susie was going on multiple dates a week, with different men, one of which was married with a 1-year-old baby. It was 15 years younger than her. Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I told my cousin that if she needed anything, that I would be there for her, and went back home. The following week was my brother's 18th birthday. I'm newly engaged, and my fiancé and I made our way to my mother's home, where a small get-together was held. In total, there was around 25 people, including Susie and her daughters. Cue my breaking point. Susie was ogling at my fiancé the entire time, 27 male. He mentioned that it was creeping him out a bit, and we decided to make our way to the opposite side of the family room. Susie didn't like that. I decided to raise her voice and proclaim to my fiancé in front of the entire family that it must be tiring to be with me, and that when he finally got sick of me, he could get with her because she's a cougar. I was livid. Without hesitation, I told her, "You can fool around in your free time and break up marriages all day, but you will not disrespect my fiancé and I. You absolute creep and sorry excuse of a mother." The entire room went quiet, and she got up right then and there and took off with her daughters. My family actually supported my reaction and told me that they'd been wishing someone would finally tell her off. I do feel bad because I did cause a scene at my brother's party and told everyone what my cousin told me in confidence. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before the little update. Not the a-hole. She had it coming. Years of mistreatment and torment will bring anyone to breaking point. And if she doesn't like the truth, maybe she needs to question her actions instead of going after everyone else. which she said was incredibly tacky, and she was expecting you to brush it off like normal. Instead, you bit back. The fact that your family are agreeing with you says it all too. Don't feel bad. You finally had enough, and I doubt she will try much again. Please call CPS on her. Yeah, she's not acting in a way that is safe or healthy for anyone around her. Not day-haul in any sense, but please take the necessary, yet frustrating difficult, action to rectify this messy situation. Thank you, Opie, for having the heart and moral fortitude to bring this up to the community, though, because we truly care about you and your well-being. Not a day-haul. That was probably your brother's favorite present. Susie didn't like that and decided to raise her voice and proclaim to my fiancé in front of the entire family that it must be tiring to be with me, and that when he finally got sick of me, he could get with her because she was a cougar. Like, you could literally pretty much respond any kind of way and I would still say not day-haul. If your aunt doesn't like being called a creep and a home wrecker, maybe she should stop being a creep and a home wrecker. It would have been awesome if Opie's fiancé would have given her a look that says, ew. Now for the little update. To those concerned about CPS, I contacted Susie's ex-husband. He's actually a good man, and now his daughters are staying with him and are in safe hands and quite happy. Susie had a meltdown following what happened, and without hesitation let her ex-husband take her daughters and all their belongings. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother his actions led to his kids not speaking to him, and I won't sit by and let him talk crap about them? My brother ruined his relationship with his kids when they were still young. Part of me was understanding of his struggle for a while, but that ended a while ago. Background: he was married to Sarah, had Jesse Lee and Cole, but when they were 7 and 8, Sarah died. A year later, he met and married Marion. Marion had Jake 11 and Macy 4 at the time, but Jake was a troubled kid. I can't go into it all here, but 3 years into their marriage, Jake went to a residential treatment facility for mental health. The 3 years before were hell on the household, and my niece and nephew never forgave their dad for exposing them to Jake for so long, and then expecting them to want Jake back home with them all. They fought for a long time over it. Jessie Lee once told me Jake was scarier than all the bad guys in horror movies combined to her, and her dad always told her he was family, that he loved her and her brother and they loved him, so it would be okay. When the kids turned 18, they stopped talking to my brother. They still talk to the rest of the family, which pisses him off. He started telling us how selfish they are, how they simply don't like that you were married, that they're punishing him for finding love again, etc. It's their fault things are so broken because they were unwilling to understand. I called him out every time I heard something, but yesterday while dropping off something at our parents' house, he decided to push back. So I told him it was his actions that led to this, and that I won't let him talk bad about kids because they did not deserve what he let them go through. He is now accusing me of dogpiling on him and saying I never liked that he moved on from Sarah. She and I became friends while she and my brother were dating, and that I should be more sympathetic to him and Marion. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It sounds like Jake was pretty horrible, and though he was suffering with mental health, it seems like your brother didn't protect his kids from him and didn't take their feelings into account. Do I think Jake should have been banished for having issues? No. But it sounds like he caused your niece and nephew some trauma on top of their mom passing, and it sounds like your brother didn't do anything to help or protect them. You were simply being honest about the situation. I think what in part made it worse was he expected them to love Jake, to want Jake back and act like nothing had happened. Had he not expected that and understood that they were glad he was no longer in the home, maybe it could have been something for the kids. But he didn't, and he hated how happier they seemed after. He failed to protect his own kids from someone with a major mental health issue and pushed them to like that person. Of course they want no contact. He failed his kids. Not stay home. You told your brother the truth and he didn't want to hear it. He sounds like someone who never takes responsibilities for his actions. Rather than acknowledging the role he played in the situation, he thinks it's acceptable to trash talk his own kids. The truth is, he chose his marriage and stepkids over the mental health and safety of his biological children. He was their only parent left. His main priority should have been to protect them and remove them from any situation that was physically or emotionally abusive. He was talking about your niece and nephew that way and you corrected him. For 3 years, he saw issues with Jake and didn't address them or try to protect his kids, then expected them to go through it all again. He cared more about making things work with his new family than to care of his actual children, using the family excuse for inaction on his part. I don't fault his kids at all. I feel bad for Jake as well. He clearly needed help and didn't get it for years. Part of the problem was no amount of regular help was enough. He was full of anger after the death of his father, and that anger was not something love or regular therapy could help. And it couldn't be helped when he was around people who seemed to make the anger flare worse. His mom, my brother, and my niece and nephew especially. I feel like Marian wanted to keep him home and try to help him there, which is understandable. But my brother essentially put his well-being first. But then, and this is something I think that pushed the lack of contact now, he expected my niece and nephew to have love for Jake, and didn't like their ease and happiness that he was no longer in the home. But from the second they were introduced to him, there were all these severe issues, and yet he expected a familial and sibling love for him. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to see my dad even though he is really sick? I'm 2 years older than my brother. When I was about to go to college, they said they didn't have the money and it massively messed up my plans, because they have a high income so I can't get aid and scholarships. I moved out. I started working because I want to save up before going to college, and I started college the same year as my brother did. I always assumed my brother was loading up on debts by going to a really expensive private school. But then I saw a story he posted, bragging about having his schooling paid by our parents. I texted him and he said it was just bragging online. But I asked Mom and she's not a good liar, and she fessed up that they were paying for it. It still makes me really freaking angry. I have better grades, I have a better application, but all of that doesn't matter. Nothing I ever do matters. I've not visited home since that day. I worked so freaking hard for my grades, so I just don't understand why they don't care. I did all the right things and they still care more about my brother. Now my dad is sick. He has cancer and it is pretty bad, so my mom is begging me to come back and see him. He is upset too. My brother called me and yelled at me for being a horrible daughter who is a greedy witch. I'm worried sick for him, but I can't put myself through visiting him. I'm just barely holding on emotionally, but I know they need my support, but I am being a huge a-hole by not doing it. Not an a-hole. Your parents treated you as if you were lesser than your brother. You have no obligation to see your dad. I agree, but Opie seems like a compassionate person, and not seeing her dad may be something that will haunt her down the line. Opie, you are not an a-hole whatever you decide, but really think about the long-term impact on you. Possibly there is a half measure of sending your dad care packages and cards, but not engaging fully so that you don't get caught into becoming a main caregiver, or offering blanket of forgiveness that you are not ready to give. Then you can look back with fewer regrets since you showed compassion and kindness. This is a really compelling argument. Opie is not the a-hole by any stretch of the imagination, but I also feel that specifically avoiding their father in this cancer-related situation could have psychological implications down the line. I recommend attending a therapy session before deciding fully. Best of luck. Not the a-hole. What your father is experiencing is the consequence of his own lies and favoritism. That family's toxic, and your brother's downright mean. Greedy? That's first-rate psychological projection there. Do what's best for your mental health. You might want to check out the sub r/estranged adult child. And regarding the Redditors who think you'll be wrecked with regret later, the red flags are all over this. Opie will likely be subjected to more verbal and emotional mistreatment if she goes. Edit. Another thought. These relatives may be trying to hit Opie for free labor. Nothing in the description says he's on his deathbed. If the doctors decided he had 6 months to live, then he would qualify for hospice assistance. Right now, he's just pretty sick. Which can mean they want help with bed pens. Bad thing. Rides to medical appointments, and they don't want to pay professional. Maybe because daughters don't deserve an education, but it's a daughter's duty to pitch in when the parent's health fails. Those two outdated beliefs often go together. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for literally being the cause of my brother canceling his wedding because I couldn't get over the fact it was child-free? Plus, a little update. I, 17 female, originally was meant to be a bridesmaid at my brother's, 25 male, wedding in 2020, but they canceled when my sister-in-law found out she was pregnant. There was no talk of a wedding till 2 weeks ago when they surprised us by saying they were legally married, but we'll have an official wedding with family and friends at sister-in-law's aunt's mansion to save money for the honeymoon. I was excited. Even though that sister-in-law was gonna ask me to be maid of honor when she and my sister, 25 female, asked to talk to me alone. Well, no. I wasn't maid of honor or even invited. Apparently the aunt said kids weren't allowed at her mansion, but she'd allow my sister's daughter, Flower Girl, and my brother's baby to be at the ceremony for 20 minutes, so they could take pictures, then they had to leave or she would shut down the wedding. They explained since it's a child-free wedding, and I was technically a child, lol, I wouldn't be allowed to attend anyway. So they decided I'd babysit along with the bride's 16-year-old cousin, a total of 9 kids as a way of being involved in the wedding without being there. My sister-in-law had got to tell me she'd even count it as a wedding gift if I would take a few days off school to babysit while she's on honeymoon. I honestly couldn't speak due to the shock, till my sister suggested I should take their kids overnight because they'll all be hung over the next day. I screamed, no, I'm not your nanny. Don't ask me to ever babysit again ever. Screw you and your kids, before busting out crying. My parents came into the room demanding to know what happened, so I told them and they were pissed. My dad said I wasn't their slave, and he was sick of them treating me as such. Then my mom said if they even attempt to pressure me in any way to babysit again, they wouldn't pay anything towards the wedding. We all got into a massive fight. My brother told my parents not to go to the wedding, but my sister claimed I was the favorite, so she isn't on speaking terms with them either. The wedding ended up being cancelled because the other girl wouldn't babysit alone, so no childcare, and they were counting on the money from my parents for multiple things. My brother texted me today, I hope you're happy, you little witch. This is all your fault. You ruined my wedding all because you couldn't accept it was child-free. You're pathetic. My sister texted me similar stuff all day, blaming me for being petty. And if anyone is wondering, my siblings are twins. Now for the comments before the little update. Not day haul. If in their eyes you are too young to attend a wedding, then you are too young to babysit. They didn't want you to come because they wanted a free babysitter. They should hire one and simply stop being so entitled. They can have it both ways. They claim you're a child so you can't attend a child-free wedding, but you're adult enough to supervise 9 children for days? And miss multiple school days to accommodate as well. Child-free weddings generally mean 12 and under, unless it's a venue that has an age restriction for insurance or legal purposes. In our aunt's home, there's no difference between you attending now or after your next birthday, other than they just wanted to use you and don't care about you celebrating their marriage with them. Lol, no. If the wedding was actually going to happen, they would have hired babysitters and paid them. This is not on you, and you're being used as a scapegoat. Now for the little update. So I showed my parents the text a few hours ago. Well, my dad yelled my brother's ears off about a grown man harassing a child till my brother hung up on him. My sister ended up coming over with her crocodile tears, trying to play victim about feeling overwhelmed with the kids and missing my parents. She didn't look at me once when she cried about no childcare or her mental health. My parents told her it's 100% my decision, and they'll support me either way. I told her I will never ever babysit again even if there's an emergency, and if they think about just dropping the kids off, I'll call CPS. I'm done trying to be their sister. I don't wash my hands of both of them. My sister called me a selfish witch, and my mom said she was disappointed in my sister for all this mean girl BS, and that she needed to leave. My sister-in-law rang about 20 minutes ago apologizing, and said in 2 weeks when everyone is more calm, she'd like to host a dinner so we can all make up and be a family again. My parents are going, because I want them to make up with my siblings for their own sake. But as for me, I think I'll have plans that night.